Thank you. No, thank you.
Hey, thank you.
How's that hoodie with the headphones over it? How's that
good,
treating
dude.
you?
It's good. It's working.
So sorry I did not have time this week to type up an agenda for this, but I think it'll be a pretty I think it'll be a pretty easy one for us. Like we'll talk about the PS5 thing and probably just video. Like I don't know about you guys, but I've actually been playing a lot of video games. So
Have you?
I should have used that in the podcast.
Used to what in the podcast?
This is the cold open. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm getting better. Getting better at this. Welcome. You're listening to the Infinite Scale Podcast Network on this beautiful, sunny, in Chicago anyway, October 11th. I forgot what day it was. October 11th, 2020. I am William Chandler, as mostly always with Sean Petersohn.
Hello.
And now I guess officially mostly always with one Tyler Williams.
Good to be here.
And returning guest du jour,
Series veteran.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome back, Chris Crossley.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we'll just start it off with the thing that we wanted to talk about, which is the PS5 teardown happened. I guess what day was that? It was like Monday or Tuesday or something, right?
It was sometime this week. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a day. I
Yeah.
like this.
One of those days.
This week is a shit show for me, like mentally. So, but yeah. So they did a basically like a little deep dive where they called it. I'm turning on the video so I can follow along as well, but they called it a up close and personal look at the console hardware, which I think is fitting.
Yeah.
Because they definitely they show it. they took that bad boy apart. They show everything. They show the ports. Like, check it out.
The vacuum holes.
Yeah, they show the vacuum holes where you can stick your sucker and get some of that dust out. Yeah, it's oh, I'm getting some feedback from somebody. Yeah, it's a pretty. Somebody pointed out online somewhere that they did one of these for the PS4. Did you guys know that?
No.
I didn't until I watched this and it came up in my up next on YouTube. I was like, what?
Yeah. Maybe they didn't just show that as readily. Maybe it wasn't a big deal. Maybe nobody cared about what the console hardware was in a generation ago, and whatever 2013 or whatever that would have been. But yeah, I had no idea. I don't recall ever hearing that or seeing that. So but yeah, they did one for the PS4, which I also watched just out of curiosity, and it was basically the same thing. But it's I think everybody, and the popularity of this video, like on the official PlayStation channel, it has 7.5 million views. The popularity of this video shows that people are actually interested in what kind of hardware like their consoles are packing. You guys all watch this?
Yeah. The amount of views on it, like you mentioned, blew me away. I was really surprised that got. I mean, I think it's getting close to like 8 million views now.
Yeah. I mean,
nuts.
It's. I mean, people were definitely putting, the talking points of these consoles were like in teraflops and like computational power and like how they're going to stack up against each other and modern PCs even, and um, and it's very interesting to see them put their like marketing where their mouth is, I guess, in that regard, because they were like, yeah, dude, like let's produce this kind of very like, I don't want to say like bland, but sort of straight to the point, like very just simple and direct video of like just their somebody disassembling the entire console from start to finish. And it's super just it's like mesmerizing almost. Like even just watching it now, I'm like, yeah, like I can hear the sound of him like like and then like removing the stickers and stuff. I don't know, it's just nice.
It was a little ASMR video.
Right.
Yeah, basically. I
No,
turn
it
it up
is very satisfying. Yeah.
turn it up to like 3,000% volume and just
ASMR.
like yeah. But yeah, and I think it kind of felt like the big takeaway. Well, I think the thing I joked earlier, but for me, I was very interested in what the ports situation was going to be. I don't know that they had really directly shown that before.
I don't believe so.
So like, I was kind of curious about that. And it's nice, I guess. What is it? One USB-C,
Yeah.
which I guess is probably
Yes.
for controller charging, because I think the controller is a USB-C, right? It would have been nice to maybe have one more. I don't know, but then again, when I bought a MacBook Pro 5 years ago, Apple was pretty sure that USB-C was going to be the only thing anybody was using by now, and that's fucking still not the case. So
Yeah.
sticking with USB-A, everybody. But I right at the point that I'm at right now, they're getting into the thing that everybody kind of seemed the most interested in, which was the liquid metal.
Yeah, the liquid metal cooling, right?
Yeah. So it's basically, what's up?
I'd never heard of that before. I'd never heard of that being used.
Sounds real cool.
Yeah, sounds real. Liquid metal.
It's pretty metal, bro.
It's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think the particularly interesting thing is it's like something that I had only ever seen mentioned as like a fun test, right? Like a science thing. Like, yeah, you could do this, or whatever, or like you'll hear it occasionally mentioned in some corner of the internet somewhere, or like people using liquid nitrogen to cool their computer parts and shit like that. But it's seeing it in such like they mention it so casually,
Yeah.
that it's pretty fascinating to see such an interesting like cooling component utilized in just like every person is probably going to have a PS5 in their living room at some point, and it's wild to know that that'll be such a core component of it. But yeah, and it just looks really interesting.
I'm curious to see if that's going to become like make it more like relevant or prevalent in other like in computer and PC builds and things of that nature. Like, are we going to start seeing that become a shift to that, because this is going to be so largely commercialized now, and like you said, in all of these systems and all of these people's houses and stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting.
I kind of wonder if small form factor builds will be kind of streamlined in the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm curious, like, I would really, and I'm sure people are working on these videos already, but like, trying to adapt this into like some form of consumer version so they can do some testing or something like that. Like try it on a CPU or something compared to more traditional thermal paste.
Yeah.
And see what the temperatures are like in a. I think interestingly, the heat sink is fucking massive. It's huge. It's like a bulk portion.
Straight out of sci-fi.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like it's like it was used as one of the models that they pretended was like 3,000 times bigger in the original Star Wars production. Like it looks like it would be like part of the Death Star or something. But it's the heatsink is so huge and it's such a large portion of the console. That seems to be what I'm taking away from this is that liquid metal is a really good passive cooling solution, but maybe not an active one. Like it's better at conducting the metal into the heatsink, but they don't really seem to have like they have what, like two fans in this thing or something?
Yeah, but they're pretty fucking
Oh, it's
big.
just one big one.
Or
No,
yeah,
they got
maybe,
one. I think they have one on each side, right? They've got a big fan on each side. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's just maybe it is just the
maybe
one.
it is just the one. I'm like skimming through it again. Yeah, I mean, so
I see a lot of
realistically,
people talking about that big fan though.
yeah, I mean, it
Is it?
seems. What's that?
I just don't know much about fans, so it's definitely
Yeah.
big. But is that like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in the PC building community, there's definitely a hierarchy of like fan quality. But what's interesting is that like, you know, you can get away with pretty much anything. So, but I mean, in a closed ecosystem like this, having if you're only going to have one fan, it needs to be the best one possible, right? I mean, realistically. Um, but it's funny because like to me, it seems like they're with this huge heat sink and only one fan, they're dissipating heat passively in a way that they're trying to combat everybody's complaints about how loud the PS4 was and the PS4 Pro. Um, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I was playing Ghost of Tsushima the last time I played a game on my PS4, which was like a month ago now, and
It did that with The Last of Us too.
yeah, oh yeah, it was way worse with The Last of Us actually.
Yeah, we made fun of that like constantly.
Yeah, it was so we had to like turn up the actual volume on the TV because the fucking fans in the PS4 Pro were so loud. It was like I was concerned for the console.
Yeah, it's
actually.
like it's unsettling that something that small can make a noise that loud.
Yeah, we were like it basically was
It's
like
about to
please
fucking
kill
take
me.
off.
Yeah. It's
I'm dying.
it was very interesting, but I think that's my guess about why this console is as big and roomy as it is that they're just really trying to make it as quiet and as effectively cooled as possible. So I don't know. I think that's the other thing is that we finally kind of see it in the flesh next to a human being. And maybe it's just the way this guy is sitting at the beginning of this, but this thing looks absolutely fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like,
honestly, I didn't think it was this ugly in person as I saw the pictures initially. I was kind of surprised by that.
really?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys disagree?
That shit is still botched looking.
Really?
No, I think it's either it's grown on me or that video similarly. Finally, I was like, oh, okay, it doesn't look that stupid, but I can't tell if I'm literally just accepting it now or what.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it looks fine on its side. It just, I don't know. It totally. Yeah, I can digest that.
I agree in that I think it does look better on its side, to be honest. Oh, let's talk about that actually. Okay? So I've got a bone to pick with Sony about console bases. So you guys remember? I'm looking scornfully. Oh, thanks Windows. They should silence those fucking Windows notifications when you start recording something.
Yeah.
Enjoy that, listeners. So
almost as bad as my sneeze earlier.
You gotta be quick on the mute button, man. Yeah, I'm looking scornfully at my PS4 because remember you had to buy a stand in order to put it vertically. You guys remember that? That was fucked up.
Yeah.
That was really.
I never put my consoles vertical, but
I used to only do it.
Yeah.
Like back in like the 360 PS3 days, I feel like my consoles were always vertical, but now, yeah, I mean, they're always horizontal. But I thought it was really interesting how they make you reposition the stand on this thing for horizontal placement.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah, it's just unnecessarily kind of intricate. I feel
Yeah,
like.
They should just put one of those little, like, you know how you have like photos on a ledge and it
I
has like
love
a thing behind it and it like tilts it like an easel. They should get one for it like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's there's something about this to me is the funniest part of this video because they go into the stand and this stand has everything. Like they're like, "Hey bro, when you're not using this, you can put the screw in here." Then it's just like, "What?" Like and then it rotates to cover up the there's like a little cap for the
Yeah.
screw hole and it's just wildly over engineered in a way
Yeah.
that I'm absolutely here
Yeah.
for.
Yeah, I was about it. Like
Yeah.
I think it's fucking impressive how over engineered that stand is. Like it's
Yes.
crazy. And then like it clips into the back when it's on its side, like the way
Yeah.
it like hinges in, like for such like a just cheap piece of plastic, presumably. Like the
Yeah.
very.
Do you have to buy that
impressed.
separately?
No, I think it comes with
I
it.
think it comes with it. Yeah, because I think
Oh.
that's
It comes with it this time.
Yeah, which is
I kind of wish that it was sold separately because the memes would probably be really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody would be fucking pissed. Dude, I was pissed. I couldn't believe that I had to buy a stand to stand my PS4 up originally.
Honestly, I'm curious if, like, with the design of it, if you would even be able to sit, like, lay it on its side and have it balanced without the stand, like, or if the edges would be uneven and so it would like wobble and rock. Otherwise,
I think it wobble.
Yeah, I think
so
that
I think that's the
probably,
intent and the purpose of the stand.
Yep, completely agreed. And I like how when you derobe the white part, it's got the vacuum holes like right there, very prominent.
So that's actually one thing that I thought was kind of cool was the potential like replacement covers for that white shroud that could come out, or reskinning them or something with with stickers and stuff,
or like like third party.
Yeah, honestly, sticker bombing
ready
those shrouds might look pretty cool. Might change my opinion on the looks of that PS5.
I'm ready for the return of those third-party websites with just like nothing but really silly fucking replaceable covers.
Yeah,
a bunch of Mad Cats skins for it.
I didn't even think about that, but it is pretty interesting that they kind of expect you to remove that because then that's your only way to access the expandable storage as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct.
So yeah, it's funny because we were talking about this like before we started recording, like it wasn't going to be that interesting, but now that I'm thinking about it, like I'm like coming back around on this, and most of it is not the actual hardware itself. It's more like how kind of smartly they've made this what is essentially like a PC able to be taken apart and modded and whatever if you're so inclined, expanded storage and all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. This is the most PC like I feel like consoles have been up to this point, for sure.
Do you guys know anybody that has ever tried to like stack consoles because of lack of space? Because I remember when they first started designing consoles to be less like flat, you would see things online about people being like, "Oh, they do this so that people don't put consoles on top of each other." But I've literally never seen anybody try to do that. Is that actually a thing that people do?
I definitely, when I was a child, I like when kids had like a really small entertainment center or something. I remember people putting like their PS2 and their Xbox like on top of each other or like so close to each other or whatever.
You would just
like,
put them on the floor.
Thing. Remember the good old days when you would have like a VCR or a DVD player and it'd be like huge and it would be long, and then somebody would have their like fucking console like sitting on top of their fucking DVD player or something.
Yeah.
People used to have like stereos too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
like
entertainment centers used to be way bigger.
Yeah, there used to be. You used to have a lot more shit to just entertain. That's why you needed a whole center for it. Thanks. I'm glad nobody laughed at that. It wasn't worth it.
You can just like cut out a portion of audio of us laughing and layer it over it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think the only other thing here that I really have, I wish they would have shown the controller next to it. I kind of just wanted to see the scale of it there.
Yeah.
Why won't they just boot up the console and show me the dashboard?
Oh yeah,
For
true.
fuck's
Yeah,
sake,
yeah.
it's coming out in a literal month. I want
they're
to know.
still
what
working on the
my OS
UI.
looks like.
Doing those last minute UI changes.
Yeah. They the UI was the last thing they built. they're like, yeah, we got this liquid metal CPU die cooler, and you're like, yeah, but can I see what my fucking games library screen looks like? Because the PS4 one is a fucking pain in the ass.
Xbox said they're keeping theirs the same, right? It's going to be.
Yeah, I think it's still mostly tiles, which I don't think. I mean, theirs isn't great either, but I think the big problem for them was just the performance of the dashboard was really bad. Less than like, I mean, I'm not crazy about like the tile visual design, but I understand why they use it, I guess. But yeah, if they could keep it the same, and as long as it runs smooth on the new console, then I'm all right with that. But yeah, I am really curious actually what the UI I think is the last big surprise for this thing. It's
such a good reveal, turning it on for the first time. It kind of seems like they shouldn't even show it before people buy it.
Oh man, I mean, yeah,
I guess at this point, yeah, I'll just wait.
Like Crossley said, we're a month away. I still don't even know if I'm going to be able to get one.
Yeah, me either. But my roommate's getting one, so I'll at least be able to watch him play Demon's Souls. Worst case scenario.
What's your favorite console boot up noise?
Oh, I think PS1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say PS1 also.
Yeah.
Oh really? Yeah. I mean, it is a really fucking good one. I
think it's just so etched into the nostalgia of my brain that
it's the only one I can remember like really well, other than the GameCube. Obviously.
The GameCube, GameCube one is good.
I felt like the 360 one was so pivotal for my life. Like I heard that shit. It wasn't until the 360 generation that I was really playing games on consoles a lot. Like before that, I was mostly a PC kid, and then like I had a PS2 that I played a lot, but and PS1 and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. Their PS1 is just so, the sound is just really cool.
Do you know there's a PlayStation 4 theme you can install, and after it's booted and the dashboard loads, it'll do the PlayStation 1 boot up noise.
Nice. That's actually pretty
was
cool.
Was that the 20th anniversary theme? Is that the one?
Yeah.
I never installed. I didn't like the look of that theme, but maybe I'll do it.
No, it looks horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. They should lean more into that stuff too, like letting you customize.
That would be great.
So I mean, they expect you to open up your console and vacuum the dust out and install your own SSD, so they can fucking let you customize your UI or startup sounds and all that stuff if you want. Should be able to. But yeah, I don't know. You guys have any lingering thoughts about that thing?
Yeah, we kind of briefly touched on the ports, but one thing that I almost immediately noticed. Did you guys see notice what was missing? Like what port was not there?
What port?
The optical?
Yeah. There's no optical audio.
They mentioned that a while ago, and
really?
I don't know, if it's just. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Like, I don't know
why.
I remember looking into it, and they had a reason, but now I can't remember if it was even a good one. But that is weird because I definitely need that.
Yeah. I mean, like my Astros.
Yeah, exactly. Same. My Astros need
the optical audio port. So
yeah,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, the PS5 comes with a headset though, correct? Like its own. No. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
I initially thought that was the case. Like, when they first announced the console, but back before price and all that stuff, they were really focusing on the accessories for some reason in a way that made me think that it came with all that
Came
extra
with
shit.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that turned out to not be the case, and maybe that was even something back then that they weren't sure about.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, a lack of optical is interesting. I haven't had an optical audio device in a while. My soundbar uses HDMI ARC.
Hmm.
And you know what? Also, I feel like my soundbar has an optical out on it. So like I could HDMI ARC into my soundbar and then optical out if I like had a need for it. And get that on the input, I'm pretty sure. So that there are workarounds for you if you really want to use that headset. But that is pretty shitty because I feel like Astros have positioned themselves to be like the. I mean, I have mixed feelings about gaming headsets in general. Unfortunately, as I wear one, but I I feel like Astro tried really hard to position themselves as like the pinnacle of simplicity when it comes to having like multiple audio devices and mixing channels and all that stuff. Like the thing that really I liked about Astra was I could hear audio from my PC and my PlayStation at the same time if I wanted to. Um,
Hmm.
which maybe was a bigger thing back when we were playing a lot more PS4 games on multiplayer, but um yeah, I don't know. So I guess no more of that. Though I'm sure Astro will come up with some kind of workaround for this.
Yeah. I'm sure. It's just kind of a surprising, I guess, exodus from optical audio. I didn't
Yeah.
expect it.
Yeah. Is optical just kind of falling off in general, and this is them?
Yeah. So it's kind of. Uh, it's not as good as like HDMI audio transfers as well as ARC. ARC is better than optical audio, so it's
I was under the impression that optical was better than
I was too until I like started looking into it because of this, and then yeah, it turns out that optical is not.
because optical removes a lot of interference was my understanding, but well, and I will say HDMI also changes constantly.
Yeah.
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 So like, we're up to HDMI, what is it, 2.1 now? 2.1.
Hmm.
And I mean that HDMI standard is basically an entirely different set of capabilities than like early HDMI, like when the when the PS4 was
Hmm.
coming out. I think it's really wild to also consider that when the PS4 was new, nobody knew like 4K what? Like what the fuck was that? Like they weren't even talking about that shit really, or it was like pie in the sky. And now everyone like I, I'm sure. I mean, all of us I think have 4K TVs.
Mm-hmm.
Like now it's yeah, you do, Sean. It's
Do
behind
I?
you. Yeah,
That's 4K.
yeah, you're welcome.
I didn't know that. Holy shit.
But yeah, it's interesting, and they're already talking about 8K, and I'm sure when we have our recording about the PS6 in 6 to 8 years, it'll be yeah, man. Everybody has an 8K TV now, but remember back when they were first talking about that shit was fucking nonsense. Yeah.
Remember 3D TVs?
No, I don't. Yeah, that
We'll be
was
on the QTX 4080 graphics cards.
Mhm.
I'm so glad that never became a thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Talking about what?
3D TVs.
Oh god, yeah.
The I remember Killzone 3 on the PlayStation 3 came with a 3D mode that
Yeah.
Didn't 2
run.
also?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I don't think
remember
2
that.
did, but one of the Call of Duties, can't remember which one, had a similar mode, and I didn't have a compatible TV, but when I went to go buy it at the midnight release at a Best Buy,
Nice.
they had a 3D TV set up that everyone could try it out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I remember putting on these like fucking goggles. And it was really, really good. And I remember at that time I was just like, oh, this is like totally gonna blow up, because like it was almost like VR. Like I could see stuff right beside me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like literally just more immersive.
Yeah.
It was just like being in VR, but not as good. And yeah, it obviously didn't go anywhere, but I remember
Yeah.
it was kind of cool,
Yeah, I remember thinking it seemed cool. I literally never got a chance to even try it out. Like it was so tertiary, like so few
Yeah.
games and so few things supported it. But
It made me really nauseous and dizzy. I know that that's like sort of a weird thing, like new gaming trends making people sick, but that was the only one. Like VR doesn't make me sick, but for some reason 3D, even in movies, I get really really like queasy. I don't know why.
Yeah, 3D movies, I'm glad that's kind of like a falling by the wayside thing as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that's
Although,
gone.
when I saw Star Wars, the last one, I mistakenly bought a 3D ticket without realizing it. And boy, was I fucking pissed. I went in and, everybody's like, ooh, 3D, everybody else is excited. I'm sitting in the theater like, fuck, like I put these stupid glasses on. It ruins the colorscape of any movie with those shitty glasses. Like it is, that movie got 16 times darker with those glasses. Any night scene, you're like, what the fuck am I even looking
everything.
at?
It's like, let's make this a bland scheme
Yeah.
of colors.
It was
that movie's already really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a scene in that movie that I can't remember like any detail of because of how dark it is. It's the scene with Babu Frick.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess I remember that was kind of dark. I was thinking the beginning, the opening when Kylo Ren. Now this is a Star Wars movie podcast now. Congratulations, everyone. That the very beginning when Kylo Ren is looking for the Emperor's fucking clone factory or whatever.
When he gets there.
Yeah, when he gets there, it's like pitch black. There's no visual language to that piece of shit movie. All right. Anyway, god damn it. Okay, all right, we can't do this. I'll rant about.
Remember when
this piece of shit
killed the Wookiee for shock value and then brought him back 2 actual scenes later?
Yeah,
I kind of wish they committed to that.
It would have been so much better. The movie might have been good.
I'm not gonna lie though. When I was in the theater and that happened, I did laugh.
We're doing this.
Yeah, sorry, it's my fault.
We're gonna start a new podcast.
Yeah, fuck Star Wars. That's all it's called. I like how you called him the Wookiee. Also,
spoilers.
Okay.
There's other
Wookiees. Yeah, I guess this is as good a time as any to transition away from the PS5 teardown, say as we are not interested in talking about that. We're instead talking about fucking Star Wars now. We got on a topic of optical audio, and now we're talking about Star Wars. Anybody want to fucking anything else about the PS5 before we move on?
Nah, man, fuck that thing.
Yeah. The last thing, I guess, really quickly, I noticed when they go down the ports, they go through all the speeds of everything, and when they go to the land port, they just go land port. Like, what, bro? There's different grades of that shit. Like, how fast of a land port am I getting? Am I getting a 10 gigger? Like, what are we talking about here?
Land port. It gives you internet.
Yeah. Puts you online.
It works.
Pipes you into the networks.
Puts the Matrix. Welcome. Cool. Okay. I think I want to talk a little bit about, because a lot of games. I've been playing a lot of games.
You been gaming, dude?
I've been gaming. Crossley, you played Genshin Impact. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I really want to hear about this because I have it downloaded on my computer, and somebody was saying that you can have a cross save on your computer and other devices like your phone and shit.
Yeah, just your phone.
Just your phone. Okay.
PS4 can't cross save with either one, which is sad because I wanted to play it at work on my free time and upgrade my character a little, but no, I just had to make a new one.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, but yeah, it's a lot of fun for a like free game. I'm really impressed. I don't know if y'all played the gotcha kind of games before, where it's like the monetization is them they release a bunch of different characters, which is essentially different ways to play the game.
Yeah.
Um, and you obviously want them, but just from playing the game, you'll get enough free currency to get a few, but maybe you didn't get the one you wanted, or there's an even newer one. So that's when you spend the money. But this game specifically has been so generous. There's like no need to spend money at all, which I think they're doing that intentionally to get a bunch of people in right now, and then
To get them hooked.
I already know they have
Get
a
the
bunch
co-op.
of cool characters planned, so I think that's how they're going to try to make money. But just ignoring that, you can play the whole game without spending any money, and then once you unlock the co-op, which is a ridiculously big grind, it becomes a lot more fun. But I enjoy it in the same reason that I like Ghost of Tsushima is I'll have my objective and I'll be going to it and I'm in this big pretty world and then I see something else and I literally can't help but want to go to it. Like even if it's just a chest, there's a big glowing chest saying come loot me, and then it's not as simple as going to loot it. Like there's usually a puzzle involved with the part of the map it's on, or just a group of enemies to fight or something like that. The exploration is just insanely satisfying. I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, I think to kind of start from the beginning, Genshin Impact is a Chinese developed, if I'm not mistaken, free to play RPG on like just about every fucking platform with a screen. And when it was first coming out, everybody seemed pretty hooked on the idea of it as a Breath of the Wild ripoff.
Yeah.
Because of its structure, I guess, which is that it's open world and you can climb anything just like a Breath of the Wild. That stamina meter, I assume you can upgrade that, right? Like that's like
Yeah.
the same idea. You can level it up and it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that was the thing that got me interested in it, was because I have like maybe a mixed relationship with Breath of the Wild, in the sense that I think there are moments in that game that are some of the greatest moments I have had in a Zelda game, certainly, and even in open world games in general. Like Breath of the Wild is, you feel like you're exploring a world. I don't know, did any of you guys, I assume Crossley played Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I played a decent amount of it, and I think I just kind of burnt myself out.
Yeah.
But what I ultimately really didn't like about Breath of the Wild, because honestly, just in general, I really loved it. But what I didn't like was that the ways you upgrade your stamina and all that were like they felt like the same thing every time. It's just like, all right, I'm going to explore this cool world. I wonder what I'm going to find. It's another temple
shrine.
with a puzzle
Agreed.
that
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I'm about to do literally 200 of these. Whereas in Ghost of Tsushima and Genshin Impact, where it's that same kind of a vibe, it's like I'm going and doing different things. Like, and I know based on the thing that I'm doing, roughly like, well, with Ghost of Tsushima, like depending on what you're doing is like the benefit you're going to get. With Genshin, it's kind of a little more random, but
sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I just like that there's variety to the stuff you're doing, puzzles and etc.
Interesting. Yeah, I really want to play it. I'm probably, next time we get together, I will have opinions on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to do this thing now that people who are smarter than me have always done, and I'm never good at this. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of person who's reading 4 books at once. Or you know, whatever, or watch, like I can't just watch one show. I'm watching like 19 shows and I'm like 3 episodes into all of them. That's, so I'm an idiot, but I'm trying to be smarter than that lately. And so I'm only playing one game at a time, like a single player game, you know what I mean? So I'm really trying to like just be done with the things, because otherwise I get too distracted, or you know, whatever, and then I'm like playing a little bit of a bunch of different shit, which is the same reason I haven't started Hades. Like I have Hades installed and ready to fucking go, and I know you're playing that as well and you really like that, but I don't know, any thoughts, or is that well tread
I
territory?
want to warn you about Genshin Impact.
Oh,
The
okay, please.
tutorial beginning like couple hours is horrible. I stopped playing it and almost deleted it a few times, but then I just saw my friends playing it and I was just like, it has to be something here. And I
Okay.
messaged a few of them and I was like, am I wasting my time? Like, am I going to hate this? And they're like, no, it gets good. It gets good.
Yeah. Well, I know
But
Tran is playing it a lot.
yeah, so I'm just telling you, you're going to hate that tutorial.
Okay.
It's going to be so bad and long, but once you get out of that, yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. And what about Hades? How are you liking that?
Oh, yeah, I've taken a little bit of a break just because I think I've hit a wall in terms of my own skill with it, and I really would have to try. And I was just like, I have other things I need to play. I just can't keep grinding a roguelike. But
Where are you playing it on? What platform? PlayStation?
I got it on Switch.
On Switch?
It's
Okay.
it's yeah, it's only on Switch and PC right now, unfortunately. Or I
Oh, is
probably would
that
have got it on
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah
I didn't even know that.
PlayStation.
Um,
hmm
did uh do you play it in handheld mode ever or no?
I have, yeah. I've had to go a few places since it came out, and I took it with me.
Does that work pretty well?
And yeah, it's fine. It's the Switch screen is just small for like for some games that doesn't do it any justice, and I would say Hades is kind of one of those,
Yeah.
but not really to where I couldn't play it or have fun. I was just like, oh, this is definitely the kind of game I much prefer on controller and a bigger screen than in my hands. But yeah, I mean, it runs way better than I thought because I've heard um not that there's crazy issues, but that there can be some frame rate issues on PCs when it
Yeah.
gets kind of intense, which is surprising. But that doesn't happen on Switch like at all. So
Yeah, and I'm sure
yeah,
that's like a resolution thing or something like that.
mm,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's good to hear. See, that was the thing. I've been wanting to play it, but I was like, most of the opportunities I've had to play it lately have been like on the go. I was like, should I just get it on the fucking Switch and just play it there? But I am pretty much a only handheld Switch person. Like I never
hmm
plug that shit into a TV. So, um, uh, I was like, am I gonna be ruining the beautiful art of this game on on such a tiny handheld screen? Especially because I have a Switch OG, but I'm using the Switch Lite primarily
mm,
lately, and that screen's even smaller.
yeah,
But um, yeah, so I really want to play it. I guess like yeah, for this kind of for the purposes of people who don't know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but Hades is the newest game by Supergiant. Um, so Supergiant made like Transistor and Bastion and Pyre, and I own every one of their games, and I love every one of their games in theory. Um, uh, I don't like Pyre that much.
yeah,
I didn't like playing it, but
yeah.
I love the world of it, and I one day I'll probably stomach through that. But Bastion and Transistor are amazing video games, and I think Supergiant just has like a super talented like it's a rare studio that I think has the chops to do excellent writing, excellent art and art direction and gameplay and just everything in an independent studio, right? Like it's just hit like fucking firing on all cylinders. Their games are always gorgeous. The soundtracks are always incredible. Like the
Yeah,
visual design, the world, everything about it, the writing, the characters, like they just always manage to nail every aspect. And I think it's just a matter of whether you like their games or like the style of games that they make or not. But like it's I would be hard pressed to think of another certainly independent studio that fucking hits it out of the park every time the same way that they do. Um, it's pretty wild and consistently too. Like Pyre came out what 3 years ago, something like that.
yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Then 3 years before that was
Yeah,
Transistor.
yeah, I love them so much.
Yeah.
Ever since Transistor, I was just like, okay, this is either their peak, like this is
Yeah.
it, or this is like proof that they're just going to continue to impress me. And Pyre was sort of that same thing. I thought like they're going to keep making good stuff, but that one wasn't for me. I'm kind of in the same like gameplay wise. I just wasn't able to get that into it. But the many hours that I did play, I actually had a lot of fun when I initially thought I wasn't going to like the gameplay at all. But I mean, I still really enjoyed it. I wish I would have been able to finish it, but just one of those things.
Yeah. Same. I mean, I probably put like eight-ish hours into that game. That's probably their longest game. Also, well, I don't know. Hades, I hear, is actually pretty. You could get a lot of game out of it, but
Yeah, apparently you have to clear it like upwards of almost 20 times to even
see
come
everything.
close to getting all the content, which is crazy. For like the story, I don't even understand how that makes sense, because from my perspective in the story, like getting out is the story. So
Yeah.
it's like,
The objective is like you're the son of
yeah, but
Hades, and you're climbing out of hell.
Yeah, right. And so, but apparently, and I'm sorry if this is like a spoiler, but apparently the story goes on until around the 10th clear.
Hmm.
And I literally have no idea how that is going to make sense, but
Yeah.
I'm excited
cool.
to find out.
And like they were really smart. So this game was in early access for a year, and they were really smart because they had dialogue that was exclusive to the early access versions of the game. Like, which is to somebody like me who likes seeing all the story is a little disappointing. But I mean, none of it was that important. It was really just like characters commenting on the fact that you've gone as far as you can at the moment in an in-world kind of way, not being like, hey kid, you reached the end of the early access build so far. No, it was like, hey buddy, you're not strong enough to go further than this, or something, whatever, something like that. Like they had like characters that would kind of comment on the state of the game at that point, which is pretty interesting to me. The future of
it
early
even
access
does
games.
that still kind of.
Oh really?
It'll just tell you things that is like a thing about the game, but it'll do it through dialogue. Just like if you've made it to, like, if this is as far as you've made it before, your character will say something out loud that directly tells you that, basically.
So he's like,
yeah,
I've never gotten this high up before, or something like that.
Yeah, stuff
That's
like that. Yeah,
awesome.
and there's just a lot of that where you're just like, oh, thanks, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And the voice actor of the main character is the guy who's done all the music for Supergiant, Darren Korb.
Yeah.
And he fucking kills it. Like, I didn't know it was him, and
That's
he
so cool.
fucking does a great job. He apparently did voice acting before Supergiant was making games, which I didn't know.
There's that one guy, and I'm really sad that I forgot his name. Logan something. The guy who voiced the narrator in Bastion. Hey kid, like.
Oh yeah, I don't know his name.
I think it's Logan. Do you know what character he plays in this or no?
No. Unless he's narrating it.
I heard it's something completely different than what he usually does. Like it's like a very like you wouldn't expect it to be him, which is cool because it feels like he in the past, like he was the sword in Transistor as well. So he's kind of always the narrator-ish deep voice character, but
because there is that presence in Hades as well, and I assumed it was him, but yeah, maybe he's doing something else. Yeah, maybe he's doing something else.
But that's cool. Yeah, I really want to play that. I'd like to talk about that as I get into it and you get further in at some point. But anything else you've been playing?
I went back to Ghost of Tsushima recently because I haven't finished it.
Yeah, me either.
And that update coming out, I wanted to kind of get refreshed, and I forgot how much I love that game. I like stopped out at a big main story mission that I was kind of struggling with, and I don't know why. Whenever I went back into it, I didn't struggle at all. I just assassinated everyone and moved on with my day. But Yeah, I ended up getting to a new boss fight that was just amazing. Like the fucking shots, dude. I
Yeah.
like, and this was the first time too that I don't know about you, but I'm not like really that invested in the story.
Nope. That's
Very
kind of
much
why I'm
love.
not playing it.
Yep, very much loving the gameplay in the world, but the story doesn't have me at all. And this was the first time where I was like, oh, I kind of wish this was a movie I was watching right now because I want to see more.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really had that with the story
Were
yet.
you
So
which part of the island are you on, like the second or third island? Because there's three
uh,
or four. Three?
I think I'm on the first.
Oh, okay. So then I might actually, okay, so then I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's like a big turning point for a character. The boss
Yeah,
fight you're thinking of is in like a little pond. You're surrounded
yeah,
by like candles and flowers and shit or
yeah,
something, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was like,
Okay.
damn, this is fucking beautiful. And I didn't expect that whole all of, not with that character, but just that part of the story to happen. Like I
Hmm.
didn't expect to succeed
So early.
in
Yeah.
saving that person. Yeah, I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so this isn't going to go the obvious direction. This is going to maybe do
Yeah.
something cool. But yeah, I'm still. I would say the story is still the weakest part of the whole game, though.
Hmm. Yeah. It's I wish it held my attention, and I think the thing that's I had by the time like that felt like a pretty early part of the game narratively, but by the time I'd
Yeah.
gotten there, I'd already put like 40 hours into that game because I was just
Yep.
fucking running
Same.
around doing everything. So it was just
Yep.
like, all right, well, I think I've gotten my money's worth out of this. I'm gonna move on, but I might revisit it and maybe we'll try out that co-op that they're adding in. Um, cool. Sean, you playing anything?
I'm playing Scholar of the First Sin in 2020.
Excellent.
Hey, me too.
Really?
Yeah, I play that a lot.
What do you think of it?
I would say it's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just love Dark Souls 2 so fucking much, but I do.
Well, I feel like every time I bring up that game to anybody, I've just stopped doing it because everybody's like, "Oh, that's the shit one." I'm just like, "No, it's really good actually. It's I'm having a blast with it." I'm actually like trying to find things about it that make I mean, I think the common thing that people say is that the movement feels like shit, and I think at the beginning it did. I had to level my character in some ways that made fighting actually feel good, but that might have just been like how I started out.
Hmm.
But I don't think that game feels particularly bad. I actually like the way jumping works in it. I feel like I can trust the jumps more than any other From game personally. I mean, even three. I haven't played three in like a few years, but I like Scholar. I don't know if I'll ever try Dark Souls 2 because this game is so long. Like I don't know
Yeah.
when I'll revisit it again. I'm not even halfway through it, and my character is like pretty beefy, so I also like that aspect of it. I like how long this game is, honestly. And I usually like short games, but I like how long this game is.
You know, I remembered recently that Dark Souls 2, the port for PC is not a great one. And I remember a lot of the fixes that they made about stability and how that game runs came in Scholar as opposed to just an update to 2.
Mhm.
And that kind of upsets me
Yeah.
now thinking back because I've decided I just don't like Scholar of the First Sin. I
Wow.
between playing it and watching you play it and never I always get to the same point. I always get to like just past um the Pirate Cove, just past Candle Cove.
I loved that. I love this
And
game's areas so much.
but the areas are all the same. It's just they add in all this extra fucking bullshit in Scholar that I don't like.
God, I disagree.
I
so
don't like the
much.
pursuer showing up every 13 seconds, especially because in my most
Yeah.
recent playthrough, I was able to kill him the first time you see him, which is when he drops on the platform from the hawk.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, there's literally no reason for me to fight this guy anymore. Which he gets new moves each new area you see him in, so there's that. But I don't know. It felt like they were like, people didn't like our game, so let's just fuck with it. And then they just turned the enemy sliders all the way up. They're like, here's 47 more guys in the fucking, area that you've been to before. Which I think is only a problem if you're somebody like me who's played Dark Souls 2 all the way a couple of times, and then I'm thinking back, yes, I know what's over here. And then I get really cocky and I run in, and it turns out they added 19 more explodey dudes in the Lost Bastille, and then I'm like, great. This is fun. I'm being gangbanged right now. Like, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's crazy because I guess, I mean, I never played the original Dark Souls 2, so for me, Scholar of this First Sin's like enemy placement and all that is all I know.
Same
and
for
I've
me.
cleared Scholar, I think, 3 times now. And I just a game like the back of my hand, so it would be super weird for me to go play 2 and just have this barren map comparatively.
Yeah, I mean I think there are a lot of changes that I probably don't even know about because I haven't played. I think the Lost Bastille is like the furthest I've gotten in Scholar all 3 times I've tried to play it. But I'm sure I think the big things that seem like positive changes, like it used to be the DLC was like thrown in kind of haphazardly. Now they kind of integrated it into the story a little bit. There's a lot of like end game additions, like the Aldia stuff for Sin stuff that none of that was in too. Really.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It seems overall like a positive change. For me, it's hard to like get past how much I really loved original Dark Souls 2, and so for them to change it like this is just so weird to me. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get through it and then I'll have like a real opinion on it. But
yeah, it's also, I think the 2 other things is the game is like really funny, and I love that. I love anything that From does with humor is like a straight hit for me. It's always good, and this game has a lot of funny stuff, especially that cat in Majula. I can't remember its name, but
Shalguar. Yeah.
Oh my god, so amazing.
Yeah, they're all good characters. The ladder guy, the fuck's up with the ladder guy?
Oh my god!
And the music too.
Laddersmith, Gillian.
Majula is the best theme, I think, of all the games.
I think that's true.
But, yeah, I like Majula as a hub. What was I fucking about to say? The stuff they added. So, do you know about like the crown you get when you clear all the DLCs? Christian,
I think that was in the original.
Oh, was it?
I think that was in Dark Souls 2. But yeah, I cleared all the DLCs back in the day as they were coming out.
You get an item?
Yeah.
Yes, if you go into the dream of whatever his name is.
Giants. The dream of Vendrick. Yeah.
Yeah, of Vendrick.
Yeah,
you can talk to him before he lost his mind, and he'll give you his crown,
yep,
which cures the undead curse, and you can't lose your health anymore when you die.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's like the best fucking helmet in existence. And I thought that was cool moving forward because you don't have the undead curse anymore in Dark Souls 3 unless you choose to become hollow, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if that was like intentional by them because they knew into they like cured it, but
yeah, maybe. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, maybe. There's also I'm really excited to see Sean get to the DLC stuff because I think that stuff is the strongest content in the game for me.
Agreed. One of those boss fights, I think it's the Fume Knight, but that was one of the coolest boss sequences.
God, yeah. I raged so fucking hard. My girlfriend at the time, dude, she was like, "Can you relax?" I was like, "No, fuck!" Like I just like was so mad. I like the Fume Knight. I don't know why. And then Sir Alon I beat in one try, but something about the Fume Knight. Yeah, something about the Fume Knight.
I never beat Sir Alon or what douche cock. Like I never could beat it.
He had like a katana.
Yeah, I literally didn't understand it. It was so fast. I was just like, I don't understand what this game wants from me. They put a Bloodborne fucking character as the boss in Dark Souls 2.
I was gonna say I wanted to mention that so Bloodborne is my favorite like From game, and it's just because like I really like fights with characters that are like at your stature, like not really like I don't really like large enemy fights. I find them kind of annoying because your camera just goes up your own ass and you can't see anything. But I feel like the fights in Scholar, especially that one with like the blind, I don't know if it's like a samurai character or something. I can't quite remember, but there's like this blind swordsman character that you fight.
The Lost Center.
Yes, yeah.
The last.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
I had such a hard time with that fight, but it was very Bloodborne-y to me because it's kind of like a dance almost, like the way that you have to fight them. And it's the same way with the Pursuer too.
She's pretty reminiscent of who's the guy in one that everybody loves?
Artorias,
yeah.
It is kind of like that fight too.
To be pretty similar to Artorias, yeah.
Yeah, I love Blood a lot of ways, but the fights where it's like you and another person, like, oh my god, thank you. Like Lady Maria is one of the best.
Yeah, it's a good
fights ever.
I like a lot of those. I think the hunters in the world fights are really fucking stupid in that game. But
oh my god,
the guy. I mean, I every time I think about it, I think of just how often I wander up to one of those guys and get one shot by like a spear at point blank range or something, and I'm just like I think it's purely due to the gun mechanics and the way that they work in that game and how they scale. Like that early fight with the dude with the Tonitrus and that guy with the spear. The fact that guy with the spear has unlimited ammo, can literally just shoot you constantly at range.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, and you're like dancing around. I remember watching Sean play that, and I was just like, I'm pissed all over again. Like I
think the reason that I like it so much is that when it comes to the bosses that are larger and there's like more design to them, I feel like I can see the strings a little bit more. I can see like the way that they sort of like created the patterns, but with the smaller enemies, it seems far more natural.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
That's why like Father. Yeah, and when you're fighting them, it's just like it's hard to like plan. You have to be really in the moment. I remember the way that I beat them, and it's the way that I always do it now. Is I pretty much like dance around the well, and so that when they shoot, it goes into it hits the wall of that well, and you can just sort of go around and hit them, and it feels very like kind of strategic.
Yeah, I guess it feels like it's fucking bullshit to me, but yeah, that's the only way to fight them. By the way, that's it. That's everyone.
It's the same way with Father Gascoigne. It's like you really have to consider your environment if you don't want to have a bad time. Yeah. Which I mean, I could see I could see that feeling cheap to somebody, but I think it feels more natural than a lot of the big boss fights. A lot of the times with those, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah. Welcome to the Bloodborne podcast, everybody. Yeah, no. I'm glad you're enjoying Dark Souls 2, even if it is in the form of Scholar, because I think it's a great game. But
it's good.
Anything else, Sean?
Nope. And I'll probably just end up going straight into Dark Souls 3 after that.
Yeah. By all means, play them all. They're all amazing. Tyler,
what's up?
What you been playing, buddy?
Honestly, I really haven't been playing anything outside of Phasmophobia with you guys. Phasmagoria, Agoraphobia.
Well, and that's not entirely true because we played a lot of Satisfactory as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to touch on that too, and then the Darksiders game as well. But
all those games that we've been playing, like just multiplayer. Yeah, Darksiders Genesis.
Is it good?
Yeah, that's the one.
Man, tell you what, the jump puzzles are my favorite part about it. I say extremely sarcastically. I fucking hate them. I hate that shit, dude, so much.
To be fair, and this is something that
yeah.
I'm gonna try it next time. We're playing on mouse and keyboard, and I think that is a poor decision.
Yeah, controller I feel like is definitely the way to go there.
Yeah, so I'm curious if the controls are as shitty on a controller, which I probably not, but we'll see. But yes, on mouse and keyboard. For what it's worth, I think when you boot the game up, it's like, hey, you should play this with a controller. I think it literally says it like in a window. It's like, hey, buddy, you should probably play this with a controller. And we were like, fuck you.
Nah.
Yeah, but I have enjoyed our time with that game, but I feel like there's not enough meat on the bone. Like we were talking about maybe doing a co-op compatriots for it. I feel like there's not enough meat on the bones maybe for that. I don't know. I mean, we could if you wanted to, but or we could just talk about it here. But I think that game's pretty fun. I like it. Tyler's okay with it. He seems to tolerate it.
I tolerate it. It's not bad. No, it's not bad. I'm hoping that the controller is going to change my experience with that game, and maybe I'll be singing a different tune after that.
Yeah,
but it is not bad overall.
Okay. Yeah. What's up?
That's like it's a Diablo type.
Yeah, Darksiders Genesis is a top-down action RPG-esque thing. What's funny is that they basically like it literally plays almost exactly like control and movement wise. If you played Darksiders 1, the way War plays in this game is identical. Like he feels the same. Like I don't know how they did that, but it's
That's interesting. And so is the game like the 4 characters have to be the 4 horsemen, or you get to pick? Like what is?
So there's only it's a 2-person game only. So there's the only 2 characters in this game are Strife, the new guy, which he has the dual pistols, and then War, and it's basically just a story of them 2, and it takes place canonically after 3 as well. So yeah.
I guess I didn't know any of that really.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as somebody I've played through Darksiders 1 and 2, and I like them both a hell of a lot. And I did that last year, by the way. I did that in 2019. Like I'm an insane person. I don't know. But
good games though, right? I mean, it's crazy how those. I feel like the first one really flew under the radar when it came out. Like people played it and stuff, but it was like around the time like Dante's Inferno and all this other just like hack and slashers were coming out, and it's just like that one I feel like kind of didn't get the attention.
Totally. Yeah. It's funny how far that franchise has gone and will seemingly continue to go. I think they're going to make more, but I didn't like the direction 3 went in, but I'll probably still wind up playing it. But yeah, I just think that world design is really cool. And I think the story of 1 and 2 are really good. Like surprisingly well written for the type of content you would expect from a game like that. But yeah. So let's talk about Phasmophobia.
Do you not want to do an episode on that? I feel like that would be a good one for an episode.
You think so? Okay. All right.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll just say then that we've been playing Phasmophobia, which is like a co-op ghost hunting
game.
game. And we're gonna see how we feel about it as we get deeper in. But I started off really liking it, and then now I kind of hate it. But it's somehow I'm the only one who ever gets their fucking neck snapped by the goddamn ghost. But
I love the idea of of co-op VR ghost hunting game as a category.
Yeah, for sure.
The way you described it, like there's more that I'm sure there is, but to think that there's more than like 2 games.
that game is basically Escape from Tarkov.
Oh my god.
No. You have a base.
No.
You have a character. If you take equipment into the field, and when you die, you lose that equipment and have to buy it again. That is exactly what happened. Those are the 4 elements of Escape from Tarkov.
Oh my
god. Yeah. So it's so that means that Phasmophobia is it is a milsim.
Yeah. A
I think my favorite
successor.
thing about
yeah.
I only played 1 game with you guys, but my favorite thing about it is that without even trying, we sounded like the people that are actually in ghost hunting shows. Like when I listen to our banter, like it was technical stuff in the game, but it was like we just sound like the ghost hunting people.
Like, somebody go in the truck and monitor the signal. Somebody look through the camera. Where'd you put the camera? It's not in the right place. Get the fucking book. I'm using the fucking ghost box to see if it's talking to me. Timmy, are you there?
Yeah. I mean, we should also mention that I think for me the weirdest part about this is that the game uses like audio cues, so you have to like say a ghost's name in the microphone to I don't know, do whatever, and that's so weird.
You anger the ghost and make it more likely to appear by saying its name into your microphone in your computer. It's fucking really so you're and sometimes so if you have the FM AM scanner, what they call the spirit box or whatever, which apparently is a piece of equipment that actual ghost hunters use that scans all the frequencies of nearby radio signals in order to talk to ghosts, because they think that ghosts communicate through AMF.
The ionosphere.
Yeah, basically.
So when you guys are like talking about grabbing equipment and you say, "Oh, did you get the flashlight? Check. Oh, did you get the spirit box?" It just sounds so fucking
stupid. So you're like twisting this dial. You're like, where are you? And then you wait for it, and maybe it'll respond.
I think the crucifix is my favorite item.
Yeah, which is
I still don't know how to fucking
useless,
use it.
We thought having the crucifix would prevent me from getting my neck snapped, but it turns out that's not the fucking case.
Maybe I need to.
I really do want to play more of that game. I thought the tutorial was obnoxious. The way that the tutorial is designed, I really hate it.
Shit. Yeah.
But learning through playing with you guys, like anything where you show a player like several sheets of shit to read that doesn't involve you actually doing that stuff, I'm sorry, I don't have the
actually, now that I think about it, this game is definitely a milsim, because the training in that was basically just America's Army.
I hate that shit
They're
so much.
Here, go turn on this screen and click through this. Okay, it's literally like a TV. Like, you have to pick up the remote physically in the game and go through the slideshow on the TV for the instructions for the tutorial. And if you leave the remote somewhere, you just can't progress to the next slide. Like, at one point, I had actually dropped the remote, and I was like, "How do I need to go to the next slide. You gotta go fucking find the remote." And it tells
especially for a VR game. Like, just integrate that stuff into the UI as you're moving through the area, because it's not complex. It's not difficult stuff. It only comes off as complex because it's like all the shit you need to read. But as we were playing it, I found it. I really liked it. Actually, it was really funny.
I do think at the very least the tutorial is successful in making you understand what that game is. But yeah, I mean, they should find a better way to do it for sure. And I'm sure they will. It's an early access game, I think, right? Is it? Actually?
I don't
plays
think so.
Like one.
It does play like one, but I don't know that it is. I think they're definitely going to continue updating it. But
I mean, we should say that this game is like $13, like full price. Like it's not. It's a budget thing, and the graphics are ugly, and it doesn't.
The situations in that game are really creepy. I was worried. I was worried that it would come off as goofy, but when everybody's around you with like a flashlight and they leave and you don't know where your friends went and you're alone in like a basement and you have no light.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was like flipping out.
You know what the ghosts in that game remind me of? It reminds me of SCP.
Yeah.
Really?
It reminds me of SCP because basically it's procedurally generated. You don't know what kind of ghost you're going to get, and the objective is basically you're going into this haunted establishment with the intent of discovering the type of ghost that it is by recording certain types of evidence. So like there's 3 pieces of evidence that you need to find. If you find those 3, they will tell you what kind of ghost it is. And we were in this building, like so we didn't even know you could die until the last time we played. And the first time that happened was maybe
terrifying.
The most horrific thing that's ever happened. Because I'm like standing.
What you described was horrible.
I'm like standing right next to you guys, and I'm just like, guys, I see him, and he's like running at me, and he just fucking kills me right next to all of them. And it like teleported me to this alternate universe in which I was in a fucking muddy shack with cocooned bodies hanging upside down and a single light bulb just dimly flickering in the corner until it pops, and then I wake up and I'm a ghost now. I'm in the spirit realm and I can see them moving around, but I can't talk to them. So I'm just alone and I'm just like, well, this is my existence. And it was just so weird because like didn't know you could die, didn't know what form that would take, didn't know like we just basically you learn something new every time you play it in the same way that you do with
Yeah.
SCP.
Yeah.
And it's also terrifying in the same way that SCP is, in that the graphics are hideous and somehow it's still scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the actual like the death animation sequence thing is the best animated part of the game.
Oh,
Like the
yeah.
hands coming onto the screen and like and then that room is I was like, God damn, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I was
if I had my VR headset on, I would have shit my pants. Like
Yeah.
I would not I would
Yeah.
have been so scared.
Yeah.
I think the other thing about that
wild.
is that that whole room sequence. Nothing else in the game is like abstract like that. It's all very like straightforward.
No,
so,
yeah. It's like this game is basically grounded in reality until the moment real ghosts start showing up and trying to kill you. Like it's pretty interesting. But yep, we've been playing that. That's pretty fun. And I mean, I maybe we'll do an episode on Satisfactory as well, but I don't know that there's really much to say about that. Removed from that, that's one you have to really get into. You really have to talk. There's either you talk for 2 hours about Satisfactory or not at all. There's no middle ground with that.
I think I'm okay with not at all.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows?
See.
We might get sucked back into that.
Maybe we'll make a return,
but I guess before we go here, I will talk selfishly about Mafia Definitive Edition because I've been playing that game. I played that game for fucking like 10 hours, bro. I'm into it. I feel like I'm getting near the end. Let me see. Yeah, I've 8.5 hours in Mafia Definitive Edition. That game is really good. I've decided
Really?
that the story of that game is pretty cool. I like the way it progresses. I like that there's no bullshit at a certain point. Like there's like basically it's the story about this cab driver who unwittingly gets wrapped up in mob business by, you know, taking two mobsters back to their base, and because of he's seen with them, he is now a target of the enemy mob because they're like, fuck you, motherfucker, who you think runs this town? And you basically just wind up for your own protection in the mob and doing small jobs for them. The way that game works is it's basically a diner scene at the beginning of him telling a cop everything that he experienced throughout the mob. So it takes place over a span of like 10 years. And it's cool that they just trim the fat. Like they're basically just like, it'll be like you're in a chapter, you do a mission, that mission ends, boom, title card, new chapter, and then suddenly it's like a year later. And it's just like, here's your mission a year later. And you kind of just learn about the state of all the characters and how everybody's doing through mission dialogue. And like, just, you kind of infer, like, you're basically just like, yeah, in between this and this, these people are just living their lives and doing boring shit, which was kind of like, I think my problem with Mafia 2, which is that they showed maybe too much of the boring shit for it to be as interesting. Although I really like that game as well. And also has a good story, but yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool. The shooting feels good. I'm playing on mouse and keyboard, so the driving really sucks, but that's okay. Yeah, it's just a really satisfying. You know what this game does? And I said this when I was playing it because I've been streaming it, and I said this out loud when I was playing it, and I said I like it when the bodies have like really heavy sounds when they fall. There's a lot of old wooden. Yeah, I know. I'm going to jail for sure. There's a lot of wooden floors in that game because it's the Chicago in the 30s, and for the record, they use fake city names so they don't have to get in trouble. So Lost Heaven. And
you can't go to Green Mill.
You can. It's
What?
just not called that. But yeah,
oh my god.
But yeah, dude, in the way like you shoot somebody, first of all, it does that cool thing that new games have gotten better about doing, where when they die, their ragdoll and the gun are like separate physics entities, so the gun will just clack really heavily. So if it's like a Thompson, it'll like bing and then like follow, like it's natural. Like the physics on the guns are really cool, so they fall out of their hands really naturally, and it's related to how they ragdoll. And then just the sounds of the bodies hitting the ground, like let the bodies hit the floor and make them loud, because it's good. It's just like doom, like a really loud thud on like a wooden floor, and they foleyed that really well. I don't want to know who the development team had to murder to get those sounds, because it sounds very convincing.
I think "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" should be the episode title.
Okay, got it. Perfect. That's a good idea. Yeah, thank you for, because I hadn't thought of one yet. But yeah, it is. There's something about the only thing I don't like is that they to get me through a single player game that's like 50-60% shooting, it really needs to be satisfying across the board, and like the controls are a little floaty. But like on mouse and keyboard, I'm just like whipping fucking headshots left and right. So I'm basically like the John Wayne of the 1930s mob right now. And just watching dudes drop, like the impact, the gun sounds, all that shit is real good. I'm definitely a murderer, I think, is what I'm learning, because it's just super satisfying. Like, in movies, like you'll watch an action movie and somebody gets shot and you're like, damn, like I'm literally playing the game and I shoot a guy in the head and I'm like, damn, like out loud.
I completely agree with you.
Like
when I was watching you play Red Dead, it seemed really cool too.
Yeah, Red Dead, which is, I need to play that on mouse and keyboard to see how that is, but on console, I think a lot of the satisfaction of Red Dead is visual and less gameplay, like less physical, because like the lock on in Red Dead is so fucking obnoxiously intense. I actually watched a YouTube video about how to set the controls so you don't need the lock on a controller in that game, just so I didn't have to be bored by just instantly you hit left trigger and your fucking character in Red Dead does like an instant 180 to lock on to whoever's in the immediate vicinity of you.
I think my version of this was, and we've talked about this before, but I really love the Wolfenstein 2009 like jibbing and
hell yeah,
and general like just animations for like shooting in that game.
Yeah, watching people die in that game is very satisfying.
Yeah, it's great. Nobody ever talks about Wolfenstein 2009.
No, we're the only one. In fact, we're gonna have to do a podcast dedicated to a playthrough of Wolfenstein 2009.
Ooh, I'm so down.
I think that game's really good.
Yeah,
the title of that episode can be "Nobody Plays Wolfenstein 2009."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody but us has played.
Yeah.
Was that the 360?
Yep. That was the one that was made by Raven Software. Yeah.
I loved that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been enjoying my Mafia time, and that is pretty much. There's so many games I've been meaning to play, and I just want to blitz through that. And before I really start anything else, but Baldur's Gate 3 did come out, and I'm very curious to see what that's like. I think that'll probably happen
early access.
It looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I
know. I've been watching a lot of people play. It looks good.
It does look really good. It does.
Looks really good.
I don't even mean that like I was saying that as like it looks like a good game, which Larian Studios makes good games, so I knew that. Yeah. Visually, that game looks fucking incredible.
Yeah, looks real good.
Yeah, I still need to play Divinity 2 before I play Divinity 3, but it looks good.
Good. There you go. Nice one. Good joke. Good joke.
Thanks.
Yeah, I need to also play Divinity 2. I feel a compulsion. That game is extremely good.
We've played the intro to Divinity 2 like 15 times. I'm convinced we will never get past the intro.
I know. We always get out of Fort Joy and then we stop playing.
Stop playing.
I mean, really the problem is that we're playing it co-op.
Yeah. That is the problem, honestly.
Or yeah, we just need to. You know what we should do is I think making it like how we do D&D, where it's like a regimented 2 hours that we dedicate to it, Like if we were gonna do Baldur's Gate 3 or we're gonna do Divinity, it would have to be like that. There's literally no other way.
Yeah. No,
because it is
100%.
essentially video game D&D, right? I mean,
It basically is. It basically is. But we kind of don't treat it that way. We kind of treat it like a single player video game that we're all playing. Like every time we wind up co-oping that game, we wind up running off in completely different directions, like doing different shit. It's kind of a bad way to play that game, although it's sort of they don't stop you from doing it that way. But it is dumb that you can, because you need your party. Like you will die.
But I mean,
game's hard.
It's just like in D&D where you can, take a short stint away from your party to go do things, and so. I think maybe with like, because I think we're getting to a point where our session is going to be taking a break for a little bit.
Are we?
Said that. Yeah, people said we're like getting to the point where we're done with like Act 1.
Okay.
And then I think we're going to maybe have a break from it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could do that. We could do that in the meantime.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. Not a bad idea. But yeah, I think that's it. You guys have anything else? Any other games? Lingering thoughts?
We still gotta play Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah, we do need to play Escape from Tarkov. I would like to.
Dude, anytime.
Did they? You think? And maybe Microsoft didn't do a Series X teardown, did they? But they should.
They should.
Did they?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. They might have done in a video like the thing where it like shows it whole and then shows it all the parts separated next by each other with a bunch of little things pointing at what they are, but that's the most.
They should. I'd like to see that too. They should do this for every company. Should do this for every console.
Yeah, or just tech in general.
Tech in general. Yeah, that's true. Phones and stuff like that.
I love stuff like this. Yeah, I love seeing just when I rewatched it this morning. The one thing that I was just like, God damn, I love shit like this is just the big like whatever microchip looking part of it that just has all the fucking shit on the green. I don't know.
That board that has everything's just built into it.
Yeah, look at all that. Yeah. Yeah, it's just very satisfying to watch. I don't know why. I think it just I've been like acknowledging recently that I love tech a lot more than people that I see like on a day-to-day basis, and it's just like weird to me because it just is not only just interesting, but it's also like so relevant. Like technology is like, it's important to stay with it, and I'm glad I legitimately enjoy staying with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there's also like a double-edged sword factor to this, which is like it's become pretty much hand in hand with like rampant fucking consumerism and like extra garbage and like stuff that I feel or like supporting companies that are morally objectionable and have too much control and all this stuff. Like there's so many like factors to it that tell me I should care less, but I love this shit. I mean, I think to me, playing video games, because I grew up primarily playing games on a computer, has always been hand in hand with caring about technology. Like playing, you had to back then. Like me trying to figure out how I could, because my mom wasn't. I mean, whatever. I got one game every so often, right? So like it was like I'm torrenting shit. I'm trying to figure out how to torrent games and get them running on my mom's shitty office desktop computer. Like, I mean,
rap snitches over here, dude.
Bro,
diming yourself out.
When I was, the statute of limitations is definitely expired on copying or on torrenting a copy of the 2004 real-time strategy hit Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. What was it called? Star Wars? Was that no? Shadows of the Empire.
I'm just imagining a huge block of like sensor noises.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
dude. No, fuck, man. And that game did not run on my computer, so I fucking torrented it for no reason. My computer was too shitty to run Empire War in 2004. But
yeah, if that's the game, because I forget, there's one before that,
Star Wars
Galactic strategy game. Yeah, I can't remember which one I played, but God, I fucking loved that game.
Yeah,
Whichever one it was, I fucking
Yeah.
loved it.
But anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
It was a good, it's fun. It's fun talking about this shit. I like it. And as it'll only become more interesting as we get closer to the consoles. I had a thought the other day. I am interested possibly in doing like a let's decide through democratic vote, aka yelling at each other, what the best game of the generation was.
Oh God.
Of like the
one we're leaving. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't know, maybe that's a terrible idea, but I thought it sounded fun.
Interesting.
Are
I don't
you
know
talking
that
about from like an objective standpoint, or like our favorites?
like our as a
Personal.
collective, like let's
okay.
come up with a list of 10 that represents our favorites. But I think,
Okay.
I mean, the hard part is arguing the last part, which is ordering the list and having a winner that we can actually agree on. But
Yeah.
but I think it could be an interesting exercise, or terrible. I don't know. Maybe it'll be dog shit. Maybe we'll just refuse to agree.
It's quite possible.
But even
10's a
then,
pretty
we'll
long
be
list.
discussing games.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Tune in again for more video game discussion. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you, as always, for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.